Hi, I'm interested in taking a weekend break in Valia. Can you provide me with some options?
Of course, I highly recommend our holiday package priced at $280 per person. It includes accommodation, meals, and a range of activities.
That sounds great. What can I expect from the accommodation?
We have carefully selected a reputable hotel for our clients. Each room is well appointed with a private bathroom, TV, and other amenities. Additionally, you'll enjoy a delightful view of the garden from your room.
That sounds lovely. Are there any other unique features of the hotel?
Absolutely. The hotel boasts a private beach located just 1 kilometer away. It's the perfect place to unwind and soak up the sun.
That's fantastic. What activities are included in the package?
Your holiday starts with a Friday dinner on the rooftop terrace of the hotel, where you can bask in the breathtaking sunset.
That sounds romantic. Are there any other activities planned?
Certainly. After dinner, you have 2 options. You can either join a lively dance session, which is popular among energetic young people, or attend a talk by a specialist.
I think the second one is better. I'm not sure if I'll have enough energy for the activities on the following day. What's planned for Saturday morning?
In the morning, we have a private tour to a museum with a knowledgeable guide. It's a fantastic opportunity to immerse yourself in the local culture.
That sounds interesting. What about Saturday afternoon?
Actually, in the morning, we also pay a visit to a studio, which is renowned for using glass to make an array of ornaments. It is a 1-hour trip. Then after lunch, in the afternoon, we've arranged a coach trip to watch an opera. It will be a delightful cultural experience.
That's a nice addition. What about Sunday morning?
You have the option to take a leisurely walk nearby, or you can book a complimentary massage to relax and unwind. It's a service that the hotel specializes in.
I'll definitely do that. My wife loves them.
Great choice. On Sunday afternoon, we have an exciting hill climbing trip planned. You'll have the opportunity to ride a donkey and enjoy the breathtaking views.
That sounds like an adventure. And what's planned for Sunday evening?
Sunday evening, we'll have a barbecue dinner at a restaurant located at the top of the hill. Our specialty is grilled lamb. It's a must-try dish.
That sounds absolutely delicious. I'm convinced I'll book the holiday package. Thank you for your assistance. You're welcome. I'm confident that you'll have an amazing time in Valia. Let me assist you with the booking process.
You will hear a man sharing his experiences with the oceanic island travelling. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 17. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17.
Hello, my name is Damon, and I would like to share my experiences of oceanic island travelling. First of all, some of you have been asking me how oceanic island travelling keeps its tour group members updated while they're on the travel trip. Please note that the information board is updated daily, and we encourage you to check it every morning before you begin your day on the beach, in the cottage, or participating in any of the many activities offered. So please remember to check it at the reception area in the front of the visitor centre of the resort. You are probably aware of the many different activities offered on our trips. There is something you should know before booking. Reservations are not necessary for most activities, such as sand soccer, beach volleyball, and even scuba diving. However, if you are planning to participate in our water skiing activity, we encourage you to book that activity at least 48 hours beforehand, as we hire an outside group to conduct this activity, and we need to notify them of how many participants will be involved. One of the many activities available to the guests is the Mystery Cave Tour. Some people interested in participating in those tours don't know what the ticket price includes. The ticket price includes transportation to the caves. All participants are required to wear a safety helmet inside the caves, and the ticket has covered that for you. If you are joining this tour, you will need to wear some comfortable shoes, as there will be some walking involved with this tour. If you are interested to see a map of the Mystery Cave in advance of your trip, you can see it on the Oceanic Island Travelling website. Of course, we will offer you a map of the cave if you need it during the tour, but it will cost an extra fee. For those of you interested in visiting the Davison Wildlife Park, you should know that the park is an excellent site for families, though it does attract a lot of zoologists to do some research. Again, transportation to the park is included in your ticket price. And please note that children aged 12 and under receive a discounted ticket price. In the wildlife park, children can often watch elephant shows, which are really an attraction. But now some elephants are ill, and they need some time to recover. Still, there is another activity that should entertain kids. They are allowed to feed the animals. This activity is extremely popular with kids. Among the most popular animals at the zoo are the collection of red kangaroos. The size of these kangaroos is similar to that of black bears, but generally they are bigger than adults, and if you're lucky, you might even be able to see some baby kangaroos while you are visiting. The crocodiles are also very popular at the wildlife park. These prehistoric animals have a lifespan of over 50 years. A male crocodile can even be expected to live to the age of 80. You won't get as close to the crocodiles as you will to some of the other animals in the park, as they are somewhat dangerous. You will be able to view these animals from a distance in their natural habitats.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 18 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 18 to 20.
For those of you that have previously participated in this tour, please know that some of the activities which were previously available are no longer available and have been replaced with new activities. The barbecue and the bonfire are now restricted by ordinance due to fire precautions in the area. Instead of going hiking on the hills, most of our tourists prefer to visit many of the gift shops in the area to buy souvenirs for themselves or for family and friends who are not on the tour. The emu farm, which has previously been a popular place to visit, is now temporarily closed for business. But newly available to you is a popular trip offered to the Nelson Cheese Factory, in which visitors can take a tour and learn all about the process of manufacturing cheese. And finally, a visit to the St. John's Fruit Farm is another very popular day trip. The fruit farm is within walking distance of our cottages, and you can get there by minibus this time, but we'll have a few nature trails that go past the cottages in the future. At the farm, you will be able to pick strawberries and apples in the farm's orchards and fields. Many tourists enjoy this activity a lot. We don't have hill hiking in the area, but we do have tours that involve in other destinations. Contact me if you are interested.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Section 3. You will hear two environmental studies students called Jennifer and Adam comparing their research on pigeons. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25 on page 5. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hey, Adam, are you ready to compare notes for our presentation on pigeons for next week?
Yes, I think so. I found some really good sources describing all the different kinds of pigeons for the background section.
Me too. I knew they were a common bird, but didn't realise there were so many types. I found an interesting new study on the Australian crested pigeon. It makes a special sound to warn the rest of the flock of danger.
But a lot of birds use calls or songs to find a mate or to sound the alarm. What's special about this one?
Well, it uses its wings.
Really?
Yes, if the pigeon is startled, it makes a whistling sound when it flies off. This sound warns other pigeons in the flock that there's danger.
Interesting. I found a lot of stuff on the rock pigeons. They're the ones with the widest distribution.
Of all the pigeon species, they've been the most successful at adapting to different environments, haven't they? In contrast to the rock pigeon, there's a pigeon in the north of Australia, the black-banded pigeon, which is restricted to one very small patch of forest. Another interesting thing about it is that unlike the typical pigeons we see on pavements and roads, it stays way up in the trees in the rainforest.
That's unusual. They're varied in terms of diet as well. The Galapagos pigeon, for example, gets all its nutrients from this one kind of cactus that grows on the island where it lives.
Really? So is there anything that pigeons can't eat?
Yes, actually. They should stay away from meat because it contains bacteria that is dangerous to them.
Oh, right. You know, I thought pigeons all looked the same, but their plumage is really variable too. The Nicobar pigeon from Indonesia is very attractive. It has beautiful metallic green feathers.
It's a wonder they're not hunted.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30 on page 6. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
Now, in the second part of our presentation, we plan to look at why pigeons are seen as pests nowadays and what is being done to control them. A lot of people in the city like to feed pigeons, don't they?
Yes, some people think that it's kind, but in fact, it's not a good idea.
I suppose human food isn't very healthy for birds, especially fast food.
Actually, because the pigeons don't have to spend time looking for food, they have more time to mate and reproduce. And so it results in population explosion.
I see. So the city becomes absolutely overrun by pigeons. That's bad for the city and for the pigeons. Now, I read that here in Melbourne, we have a pigeon problem in the centre of the city, and the City Council is trying to deal with it.
Yes, they've built some special nesting places in one of the parks in the city centre. They're designed to house the pigeons so they stop creating nests on buildings.
But isn't that just changing the location of the problem?
Well, that's just the first step. In the second stage of the council scheme, they exchange the pigeon eggs for dummy eggs. It's like a form of birth control.
A very elaborate one. Someone would have to go in and replace those eggs by hand.
Well, yes. The program does work as a means of controlling the population, but the financial burden on the taxpayer is quite high.
Yes, I imagine it would be.
The most successful pigeon control program in recent times was in Basel in Switzerland.
And what did they do?
Well, the City Council found that teaching the public about the negative effects of feeding pigeons was more effective than trapping the pigeons, or providing alternative nesting sites for them. These were both methods they'd tried previously.
Really? We'll have to include that finding. Do you think we've got enough for our presentation, or should we do more research?
Well, I was thinking that we should also make it clear to the audience why pigeons in cities are undesirable.
Yes, we haven't really done that yet.
Right, I've got some information on the damage their droppings do to buildings.
And I've got something related to that on how their feathers can block gutters and pipes causing water damage.
But I haven't found anything yet on the health risks to humans that urban pigeons pose.
Neither have I. Let's look for some information about that and add it.
Okay, can we meet again tomorrow in the computer lab too?
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 4 on page 7.
Section 4. You will hear a lecturer talking on the topic of sustainability. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40 on page 7. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
This week's lecture on a scientific topic of current general interest is on sustainability. The term sustainability is not new. It was first coined in 1987 in a report for the United Nations World Commission on Environment and Development. Since then, however, the term has been applied to everything from cars to agriculture and even economics. My specific focus, in fact, derives from this problem. I want to analyze what seems to me to be the confusion that surrounds sustainability. That UN document defines sustainable development as development that allows both the present and all future generations to meet their needs. Here is the first myth. Sustainability is not simply about the environment, which may come as a surprise to you. In fact, the original definition says nothing about it at all. Sustainability is not about protecting the world around us. The original focus was on finding ways to help poor nations catch up with richer nations, which primarily meant giving them similar rights to natural resources, water, food, energy, the things that many of us take for granted. The consequence and ultimate goal was improving living standards for all. Another myth is that sustainability is a synonym for green, as in green movement, green products, etc., although there is some overlap between the terms. Green suggests a preference for natural living, for example. When you go shopping, products marketed as green imply the absence of high technology and mass manufacturing processes. Those groups who campaign for sustainability, we can call them the lobby for sustainability, acknowledge that the situation is desperate. The main problem, they state correctly, is time. With 6 billion people on the planet now, and 1 billion more expected in the next 30 years, only technology will be able to provide everyone with an acceptable and safe lifestyle. Electric cars, wind turbines, and solar cells are key examples of this. They make great use of renewable resources while emitting fewer noxious chemicals. Nuclear power, too, is something the sustainability lobby has come to accept, unlike most greens. And here's the third myth. It concerns the role of technology. Technology is not rejected as evil, but we should not overemphasize the role of technology either. Take electric cars, for example. Researchers are currently working on plans to electrify the world's car fleet. New technology is currently being developed to make better batteries, giving longer performance. But a better way of thinking is perhaps to have battery stations for drivers to use on roads. When the battery is getting low, they simply swap the old one for a fully charged one. In other words, new business thinking, not new technology, for a sustainable future. There are similarities in agriculture, where knowledge can be more productive than new technology. Agriculture uses up about 3/4 of the world's water. Some crops are very thirsty and require a lot of water. So many farmers who believe in sustainability are now planting crops like sunflowers and wheat instead of corn, which are happy with much less water. In terms of water consumption, one of the biggest problems is that our diet is changing. As countries develop and people become richer, they aspire to a diet with more meat. Now, admittedly, most of the new births that will take our population to over 6 billion are going to be born in countries with largely vegetarian diets. However, most of them will be born in the city, and this is where water consumption is highest. That introduces the topic for next week's lecture, and we will be discussing.
That is the end of Section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers. That is the end of the listening test. You now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the listening answer sheet. You have 2 minutes left. You have 1 minute left. Please stop writing and wait for your question booklet to be collected.